Pandemics and lockdowns and you're kind of bored. You'd love to start training, but you don't have a sword. No excuses. No excuses. Today, we're going to take broom handles and make them into swords. Here's one I did earlier, and we're going to do another one. I'll show you how in just a few seconds. Hello friends, Lauren here, and I know that there are some people who are new to European martial arts, new to sword fighting stuff, who are watching these videos, and you might think, oh yeah, that's really fun, I'd like to try it, but I can't afford a sword, I don't have a training sword, I just don't want to wave around a stick. Well, we can make household items into swords. So, I made a long sword earlier, and briefly, we take the overall measurement, and about 1/4 is for our hilt, so the handle, the grip from the crossguard down, and then about 3/4 roughly, that's the blade. That's going to give you good proportions for that. But we're going to make an arming sword version so that I can show you what I did. We're going to use this piece of wood here. So this is more of a shovel or a heavier broom handle. The other one is a hollow metal tube. So quite light. This one will give you a bit more resistance. But if you have a broom, you just unscrew the broom handle and ta-da! You've got a sword. That's really how easy it is. Now, what things do you need in order to turn something like this shortened broom handle into a training sword? Well, apart from the handle, you will need some sort of measuring tape, some sort of sticky adhesive tape, scissors, cardboard, and preferably an X-Acto knife. This is an Olfa knife. Really should have one. They don't cost very much, and they are excellent. Get a little closer to the camera here. The first thing to do is cut some cardboard strips. So any kind of cardboard will do, but the most important part is when you're using corrugated cardboard, which is the best thing for this. And let's face it, we're ordering a lot of stuff, a lot of boxes coming to our homes because we're not out shopping. So we have a lot of deliveries. We probably have cardboard. Just cut the flap off of the box, and then doesn't matter how long you want to make your guard. That's up to you. But make sure that the corrugated strip is going this way. Make sure that that's where the ridges are, okay? So that if you're doing this, it doesn't bend. There we go. And we need 2 pieces. And the first thing we're going to do is take a little bit of tape. Now, I ran out of all the black tape I had in the house, the last of it, making the long sword. So, but we'll use clear tape because that's gonna help show us a few things. So step 1, take some tape. It makes fun noises. Oops. Line up your tape along one of the pieces. Take the other piece, fold the edge over, like so. Bring your tape down, like so. Take the whole thing. Cut. So there we go. So I've now taped it over, but I can prop it open a little bit. Then I'm going to take what's going to be my sword, and I'm going to slide this on. Now, where do I stop? Well, depending on the type of sword you're making, you would now use your measuring tape, and you're going to measure. You're going to find out. We'll angle the camera down a little bit more, if we can. It doesn't want to. Okay, so I'm going to measure the full length of this. Now, I know that the broom handle for the long sword is 47 inches that I use. Usually they're about 48 inches, 120 centimeters. That's a good analogy for a long sword, and you're using about 12 inches or 30 centimeters for your handle. Okay, this total length, 36 inches, 92 centimeters. We're going to have 6 inches. So I'm going to measure at the 30 centimeter mark, which is here. And that's roughly, I mean, if you put your hand, you'll see where you can have it. That's a good grip right there. I'm going to make a pommel starting here. I'm going to have my guard here, so I can move this down. And you can just measure it by putting your hand close to where you're going to mark your pommel. And then you pinch. Doesn't have to be perfect. Remember, you're just making this look a little bit more like a European sword. You're giving it a cross guard because you would have one. And when you're done pinching, it's not going to sit perfect. Put it down, and then you need to take your tape, and then you need to do some magic. If you have a marker or a piece of tape ready, you can mark the spot on the handle. So you can put this down, pick it up. Okay. So I'm taking a piece of tape. Probably don't take it off of the roll. I'm just doing this because I want to try and make it easier for the camera to see. Put this in front. So if that's where my cross guard is going to be, I want to start by pinching on one side. I put the tape, I pull the tape across, I come up, I go around, then I come back down, I go around, I come back up, I go around, I adjust, I'll come back down. With the clear tape, you can kind of see everything underneath. So that's why I chose it. I mean, I could have had some different color duct tape, painter's tape, other things. Okay, so you're basically crisscrossing, looping around, back and forth. There we go. So now, I have tape. Now, I mentioned the direction of the corrugated cardboard. I wanted it to go across with the corrugation, and that's to add a little bit of stiffness to this so that it only bends these directions perpendicular, but it's going to stay fairly secure once we have it all taped up. Now, let's just do a quick measure. We know that we hold the sword a little bit below our cross guard. There we go. So that is already the handle. That already looks like a sword. Okay. Next thing we want to do is we need to mark where the pommel is. So I'm going to get the tape ready. I'm not going to cut the piece this time. And so I know I want my pommel here. So I'm going to just put a few layers around. Remember, it's all about feel. I want to be able to feel where the start of my pommel would be if I had a real sword. So I'm just cutting some tape here. Okay, and now I just want to do the test, and it's perfect. So I can feel where my hand is, and I can feel where my hand is, and it sits right in the middle. There we go. So now I have a guard for my sword. Doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to match it up exactly. One thing you do need is, if we look at it like this, there might be a bit of a gap. So we want to seal that up. So the next step, take some tape. And I will show you in a second here. So you want to put it like that and cut. Then cut in the center, and then fold over the piece as best you can. So you're folding it around and closing at the top. Okay. So now the top, it's cinched, it's sealed. And then we want to do the same thing for the other side. So take your tape. Put it on, pull it across, cut, tear. You can even cut 1, 2 maybe. That would be even better than folding it over. And then fold it down here and here. There we go. I don't recommend masking tape or painter's tape for this kind of work. Duct tape is usually really thick. Electrical tape is excellent. Hockey tape. Living in Canada, could I find my hockey tape in the house? No. Don't really play hockey, but I have hockey tape. I don't know why. But I had electrical tape. That's how I did the longsword. We'll have another look at that in a second. And then I had some just really thick, clear cello tape here. Okay, there we go. Regular present wrapping cello tape, gift tape, it might be a little bit too thin, but it'll work. Remember, this isn't going to take a lot of abuse. This is mostly for you to just do some solo training or some pair training while you're stuck at home. So there we go. I have made a cross guard, but I know where my pommel would be, and that's really it. There. I made a sword. All I had ready was the 2 strips of the cardboard. It will take you about 30 seconds to cut those. And it's 9.5 minutes. And that's it. 10 minutes. You can turn any kind of stick, or broom handle into something that looks a little bit more like a sword. And if it looks like a sword, it makes you feel a bit more confident in what you're using. Now, I have it. So now that I have a guard, I know where my edges can be because I know I'm holding it. I can look and say, this is going to be my long edge. This is going to be my short edge. I could mark those with tape. I could mark the edges with tape. We'll do that. I can take this big roll of tape. I could start at the guard. So maybe I don't want to make a cross guard, but I could just use tape. Oh, it's going to be tricky. But I could put tape on the sides that are the edges. So I could say, okay, if I'm just picking up a stick, I want to know where the edge is going to be because the stick is round and I'm new to this. I can actually just put tape on so that I can see. Now, if you're using a different color tape, great. If you need to purchase some tape, a dollar store, a pound shop, get some just low-cost electrical tape. It's really just polyvinyl carbonate, sticky adhesive. Really low cost. You can get different colors. And if you get different colors, you can really personalize the sword as well. Okay, so I marked some tape. Now this is clear tape because that's all I have left. But you could have colored tapes. Now you know which you have edges. You could even write long and short on them. Although, remember, if you're turning the sword in your hand, this is the long edge. Now this is the long edge. It doesn't matter. Final securing. If you want, you can take a little bit of extra tape. Just go around the guard. Just making sure that everything is going to stay in place. Take your scissors, cut. There you go. So now I have a sword. I can build up where my pommel line is, so instead of just feeling, I can actually have it. But there we go. I have 2 swords now that I've made today. It only takes about 10 minutes to make one. There we go. So all you need to do is add a guard and add a place where you think your pommel is going to be. Something that securely fits your hand. It's a little tiny bit of room, but not too much. And there we go. We made 2 medieval training swords out of broom handles. 1 long sword, 1 arming sword. Make your own. So now you have no excuses. You want to train? Who doesn't have a broom? Who doesn't have some sort of tape? Who doesn't have a pair of scissors? That's all you need. A little bit of cardboard. You're done. That's it. It's a very simple thing. You can make it. And then you can start following along. Look at the videos. You can start learning the different things. And then you start asking the questions, of course. Because remember, you can comment with your questions. And I'll make future videos to answer those questions. Alright, thanks very much for watching, friends. Hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to like, the subscribe, the notifications, the share with your friends, all that YouTube stuff. And I hope that you have a great day and can get to some training with your very own homemade swords.